Good time zone, Gen Friends, and welcome to CrossGen Friends, your gaming, pop culture, and tech podcast with a multi-generational point of view. I am Joe LaRussa, and with me, as always, is Byron the B-Man Miller. Byron, how are you today, my friend?
I am doing well. I have a question for you. What's your happy place this week?
My happy place this week is actually just a local pub that I go to maybe once a week, maybe a little bit less. I usually just go there and have a dip, a French dip sandwich, and enjoy a nice time listening to some podcasts and chilling at the bar there, chatting with the bartender, whatever. But this week it's a little bit special because they had a drink on the menu that actually interested me called a Bill's Mafia Mule. And as maybe the viewers and listeners don't know, I am a fan of vodka. That is my default go to drink. So when I saw a fun take on a mule, which is a vodka based drink, I just had to give it a shot. And I have to say, it was delicious. Byron, I sent you the picture of the ingredients, right? Of the recipe there that they listed. Did you thought it looked interesting, right?
I mean, I'm not a super big mule fan. I mean, they're fine. They don't do much for me. What was the difference in the two?
It was the vodka type that was in there. I don't have my phone to check if you have the thing in front of
I'm
you,
pulling up
but
Loganberry vodka.
yeah, yeah. It was very sweet. It was a very sweet drink. It was the kind of sweet where so normally I don't actually drink alcohol with food. I can't do that. I don't like the mix of them together, which I know is crazy to you because you do. But for me, I don't like that. So normally if I'm drinking, I'm just drinking and then I have a soda on the side or something. But this was actually good enough that I ate my salad with the drink and it was absolutely delicious.
So I don't think it's fair to say that I like alcohol at the taste of food. I think it's fair to say that I like alcohol. I like it before food. I like it in the afternoon. I like it with dessert. I like it as an after dinner drink. I try to limit the amount of alcohol I drink because I don't like how it makes me feel the next morning. And I don't like the
Sure.
fact that it has so many calories, but I do like alcohol. I can't say I'm super. I mean, vodka's fine. I guess by default, vodka has no flavor and no odor, so it's essentially watered down ethanol. I mean, if you're drinking potato vodka, it has a little bit more of a taste, and
Yeah.
there's definitely a way you can tell the quality of a vodka based
Oh
on how
yeah.
smooth it is. I've had
And
some
based on how hungover
phenomenal
you are the next
vodkas
day.
because you don't know how much alcohol is in it. I've had amazingly smooth vodkas that you would have absolutely no clue they are 40 plus percent alcohol.
Yeah. I'm a Kettle One drinker usually as if I'm going for quality. I enjoy a good Kettle One as a brand, and but I don't usually buy it at home because I just buy whatever cheap thing I buy if I have it around, and I don't drink that often. You drink way more than I do, I guess, because you guys go out to bars and breweries and stuff, and I don't like the most I drink is when I just see an interesting drink or when I do drunken Fortnite with my buddy, and that's about it for me on the drinking front. But
Yeah, I like mixed drinks. I don't typically do mixed drinks with food. They're kind of a pre-dinner thing. I'd much rather
mm,
have wine or beer with food.
yeah.
But I do like mixed drinks. I do like liquor. I like everything except for tequila and scotch. Yeah.
So you do whiskey but no scotch?
Yep. I love whiskey. I love bourbon.
Interesting.
I've never been a fan of scotch. Just haven't liked it. And I
Huh.
don't. This is funny to me. I think I love bourbon. I don't like bourbon drinks. I want to drink bourbon by itself,
Straight.
straight. I do not. My wife loves old fashions. Couldn't care less. It doesn't taste bad to me. I just don't enjoy it. And why should I drink something I don't enjoy?
Rocks or no rocks, though.
Typically, it's rock. Sometimes I'll do a couple drops of water. They say that opens up the bourbon.
Uh,
My favorite liquor is still gin. I like gin. I like the way that it smells. I like it the more Christmas tree flavored it is.
yeah, I like gin decently well. Gin is the closest thing to vodka that's not vodka, which is why I like vodka tonics. That's my go to when I'm at a bar is vodka with tonic water or vodka Sprite. Occasionally, I'll do a dirty Shirley. Dirty Shirley with the vodka Sprite with grenadine in it.
I assume it's a Shirley Temple with vodka in it.
It is, yeah. But the first real drinking I ever did was with when I was like 21 and was at a bar and whatnot. I was gin with like gin and tonics because it's straight, it's simple, it's smooth most of the time going down. I enjoy it.
Like you, the first drinking I did when I was 21 also.
I don't know why you roll your eyes.
I didn't roll my eyes.
I mean, like, obviously not on my 21st birthday. That was different. But the first time I was just out socially getting something to drink was actually at a family member's wedding. And I remember sitting at the bar down there, and we were just at the hotel bar after the wedding was over or whatever. We were just sitting there drinking. I was getting gin and tonics. And then a cousin of mine, a distant cousin of mine, threw a drink on a stranger. It, is interesting. Anyway, Byron, what's your happy place this week?
Mine is not alcohol centered, but it kind of could be. A friend of the show, Adam S., had his birthday this Wednesday. And
happy birthday!
We went out and celebrated at one of the local Indian restaurants and had a fantastic time. The two of us split an Indian beer that was pretty good. It wasn't my favorite style of beer, but it was fine for eating Indian food. It was a cold lager. So, I mean, it's a lager. That's how they're made.
Why did you split it? Why split the beer?
Because it was a big bottle.
Oh.
It was like 20 ounces, like a liter and a half-ish, I guess. So 24 ounces maybe. It was, I mean, he could have drank it by himself, but I drank some of it to be social and to be fun.
Sure.
I'll give this anecdote. The place that we went to, I have never eaten at before, but I have eaten from there many times. It's called Salt and Pepper. And I have friends who travel from other cities to go there because the food is just that good. I'm not the world's biggest curry fan, but I love dal, and they do a fantastic dal, and I get it with goat. This time when I was there, I have this problem. I don't know if it's because I have specific tastes or what, but it happens with beers when I go to restaurants, what I want they're out of. And this week they were out of goat, which I understand. So I ended up trying black pepper chicken, which I knew was going to be different than Chinese black pepper chicken, but it was still very good. I actually had the rest of it before the show for lunch. But the thing that bothered me more is I ordered rosemary naan because I like naan and I like rosemary, and they were out of rosemary.
So it's just naan. It's just bread.
I didn't order it. I was like, I don't really care to have naan without the rosemary. I'll just eat what I have. Because we had an appetizer, so I didn't need more food.
What appetizer did you get?
There was one, it was like a shareable naan, so I had already had naan. And then we ordered some fried okra, and it was okra that was fried. It was almost julienne. It was julienne first, and then it was fried, and it was pretty good. But what I don't understand is I get being out of goat. Like, that's a thing it's not like rare, but it's not the most common white person food. So
you can't walk into the market and buy it
and pick up more goat. Correct. But like rosemary, like there's 3 grocery stores in a block of this place. Send somebody out and get a few containers of rosemary. It's not hard. You can get one for a couple $.
It's
one of the more common spices. So that's the first one. So happy birthday, Adam. As always, we had a great time. We get together with them fairly frequently.
That's nice.
The next happy place for me, it's MLK weekend. So it's always nice to remember what he did for certain people in our country. Less so for me because I am a white male, but in terms of bringing civil rights to the forefront, what affects me directly is that I super appreciated waking up this morning and thinking I have another day to sleep in this week. And so I will enjoy that tomorrow.
Yes, me too.
If you've not been to the MLK Memorial in Washington, D.C., I recommend going. I have been there before. It is impressive. Whenever we go to visit my son, I like to run in the area. And usually I'll run towards the monuments by the mall. And I like to go to different places. And it's really cool. And then I'll continue to monopolize the conversation by saying I have an unhappy place this week. I did my Windows updates because it's a Windows Patch Tuesday week. And Microsoft had to rearrange the frickin' start menu. Just when you get used to the start menu being different from Windows 11, now you have a different start menu. And maybe there's a way to change it back to classic new Windows 11.
My start menu looks the same. I don't think anything's changed.
Did you do your updates?
It updates on its own. I don't tell it to.
It may not have restarted from them or finished.
Oh, I don't know.
But yeah,
my start menu is just pins. It's just my few pins, and that's it. Like, that's all.
Before we had one that had the pins and then it had recent applications, but the pinned applications was narrow, and you had to scroll to see more of it. And now it's just all of your pins in this big block, and I I don't dislike change. I don't like change for the sake of change.
I only have
And
9 pins anyway,
oh
and
yeah,
then it's recommended apps. I don't even have recent apps. That's not even a thing here.
yeah. So you may have gotten it. You just don't have enough pins to know, but I have
Yeah.
recommended apps, and now there's a whole other segment underneath it where I'm sure Copilot has decided what you need to see and what you don't need to see. I've got accessibility, creativity, entertainment, games, information,
Oh, I
and
don't have
reading.
any of
Blah
that.
blah.
No, no. I very rarely use my start menu. I just use all the stuff I want is on my desktop icons already. So
Oh, my desktop is empty.
I don't. I mean, I keep my games and the few programs I use. The only thing that I open that's in the pin regularly is Chrome. Like that's the only thing I don't have on the desktop because I only use Chrome for the podcast here. So I
I
don't need
keep
that
my,
on the desktop.
I keep my games in Steam or Xbox, and I right click the icon and launch the game. And that way, there's nothing on my desktop the way it should be, completely clean. Not even on my computer or the recycling bin's over in a corner somewhere. I don't even look at that very often.
Oh man, no, I love having. I'm so meticulous about my desktop that I want my icons in the same place that I take pictures of it periodically to make sure that if something ever resets it, I can put them all back where they belong.
It's
Yeah.
easier if they're not there at all, then they're always exactly where they should be.
Yeah. Well, what are you gonna do? I mean, if we're talking unhappy places, I have an unhappy place this week too, with my company having laid off a bunch of people, so that was not fun. Obviously, not going to talk too much about that, but it's sad. Felt bad for the people that were laid off there, and yeah, and I know that a mutual friend of ours is one of them. So shout out to
Yep.
him if he ever listens to this. But
Yeah, he's not a gamer, so he
oh
probably
no,
won't ever listen to it.
that's surprising.
But yeah, I've been in contact, and it's sad. I'll keep some of my personal opinions, but sometimes these are good things. As somebody who was laid off way back in like 2003, it led to me getting a much better job that I probably wouldn't have been motivated to do if I hadn't been laid off.
Yes, 2003 when I
You were
was
not in,
10.
yeah, you weren't even in high school yet. It
I just hit double digits.
A lot of people get complacent in their jobs and accept less than what they deserve, and it probably would have been me if I hadn't gotten laid off. And it sucks for people to have to think that at this stage, and it's not a good thing to try to tell people at this stage, but in the long run it probably would be better.
It's just hard because job hunting is difficult. You know, having done it a few times in my life, it's always like that's the most difficult part because you eventually start feeling hopeless because you do it for
Yeah,
so long, and there's so many people looking for work all of the time, even in a
well, not all.
specialty field.
It's especially a difficult time now because there have been multiple industries laying off. The place where I used to work, and I think where you currently work, it's not a secret, does software development, and that's an industry that has been hit hard by AI. So
Hmm.
my best wishes to the people who are looking for jobs, because it's not a great job market for them.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk more about this in one of the news stories, but games have hit, always getting hit with layoffs and studio closures too. So, and that's software development, and it sucks. It's just sad, but yeah.
Yeah, well, let's move on from here. You want to take the first news story?
Yeah, I will. So this one's a bit of a chonky one. It's our chonkiest of the episode, I would say, but we'll start here. Former Bethesda game studios designer Kurt Kuhlmann, props to his parents for the alliteration, who left the studio in 2023 after over 20 years with the studio, participated in a wide-ranging interview with PC Gamer recently, discussing why he left, cultural changes at the studio, and behind-the-scenes problems of the legendary studio. Kuhlmann, who served as the quote-unquote lore master of the Elder Scrolls series due to his longevity and heavy involvement in the franchise, was co-lead designer of Skyrim. He claims he was promised the sole lead role in the Elder Scrolls 6, originally planned to happen after Fallout 4, by Todd Howard, the studio director. The studio ended up making Fallout 76 and Starfield, shuffling away from the planned timing of Elder Scrolls 6. And when the time came, someone else was chosen as lead. He chose to leave the studio in 2023 due to overall dissatisfaction in losing that opportunity, but has come to feel it was for the best. Please check out the article from PC Gamer for more on this. So there's a whole lot that was in here, Byron. What do you want to talk about with this topic here beyond what I just read? Do you have any thoughts?
It super sucks to be promised something by a company and then for them to change plans at a later time. So
Yeah.
the industry word I think is to know your value. with companies, and he felt like he wasn't being valued, and he moved on. And I hope that he achieves better, because it super sucks to be told one thing and have another thing happen.
Yeah, it definitely does. One of the things that I found interesting about it when I was reading the article was the changes that he saw in the studio over time. One thing that was interesting was he said by the time Starfield shipped in 2023, it didn't feel like a single studio. It felt like four remote studios all working together. And that's a lot to do with the fact that they had opened new offices after they were folded in by owner ZeniMax Media, including the Battlecry Studios and Escalation Studios in 2018. And then when it was bought by Microsoft in 2021, I thought that was really interesting because we have seen some studios in game development adapt better than others to a remote work environment. And this one seems to have struggled with that, at least in some way, shape, or form, even though I assume the employees go into their respective studios. They are still remote studios, remote
but
working.
but probably not in 2023, because that was still fairly close to COVID peak.
That's true. That is true too. Yeah.
And regardless
So
of what introverts say, having some sort of a on presence, um, group meetings or participation, I think it is good for the organization. I don't want to go to the office every day, but having a few days. My office recently has gone to a fully hybrid schedule, so there's no remote
nice.
unless you live out of the area. So
Oh,
I go in 3 days a week, and it's
too many.
here. What I'll say is I can't explain the psychology behind it, but everybody agrees with me. Whenever you call somebody on Teams, you always feel like you're inconveniencing them, and so you always want to check, hey, are you there, before you click the button. Nobody is upset to just drop by my office and just start a conversation about something work related. So there's a barrier to collaboration that is removed whenever you're on prem together.
I would agree with that. I just think that it's a barrier worth having, or it's not such a big barrier that you lose. The benefits of the total remote environment are so much greater than than the things you gain, in my opinion. Because I wouldn't be able to do my current job if I wasn't fully remote. Like I would have had to have found a new job, or broken up with my fiance, or tried long distance. Like all of those things are only possible because of the remote work environment. And I like the ability to live anywhere you want. That is really the biggest thing to me is with my current role, I want the ability to live in any one of the 50 states or Canada at any time and keep working. And that is really cool that I can do that. And I think that someone who likes to travel, who likes the ability to, we have the international waivers. I could work from Japan for 3 weeks if I wanted to over there. Like I'm allowed to do that sort of a thing and get paid to do it. Like that kind of thing is really a huge benefit of the remote work environment.
Yeah. I think we've probably delved too far off the cliff in the discussion. I would love to have an hour to talk about fully remote versus hybrid
Yeah.
versus on-prem.
We could do that as a wild card topic sometime.
We most certainly could. We would
But
have to change the topic of the entire show, I think, at that point.
that's all
Boring
right.
workforce discussions with Joe and Byron, professionals.
Well, the last thing I wanted to say about this particular interview was about the studio changing, because the way he described it was that in the early days it was a close group of developers in a basement making decisions and eating in the canteen. But with all of those studios that opened up, it changed. When you get Kuhlmann says when you get to that size, you can't have people just popping into Todd Howard's office to chat about a design point. He's not having lunch with everybody. It's very different when it's 400 people, four studios, big businesses, and now Microsoft is involved. Yeah, he said that decisions that on Oblivion would have been made on the spot after a conversation were filtered through layers of management, and sometimes developers couldn't even work out who had made the decision. A lot of communication breakdowns during Starfield. You didn't know who to talk to. There'd be people talking to leads in one studio and getting answers, and other leads would be messing it up. So the slowness of all of that and the communication breakdown may be part of why Starfield had the problems that it had in development, and part of why the game has received the more mixed reception than prior Bethesda games.
Starfield was a good game, but it was a disjointed game. It was not tight. And what he's
Yeah.
saying, to kind of piggyback on our previous discussion here, is valid. I won't say which company it was that I used to work for that did this, but I used to work for a company that had an office that catered lunches every day. And the comment to me was, we would pay for people's lunches. They would get together in the cafeteria. We average paid $2.50 a person for them to eat in the cafeteria, and they would sit around for an extra hour of the day and mostly talk about work. And we got a lot of extra stuff done. And so we were essentially paying $2.50 for an extra hour of work, and it was completely worth it. And then when the efficiency lords came in, they said, it's not worth it anymore. And that broke up some of the camaraderie and some of it increased the barriers, just like you talked about. You can't just walk into Todd Howard's office.
Yeah. An interesting quote here from Kuhlmann says, Todd's a very good project lead, and fundamentally I think he's a designer at heart, and he's good at it, obviously, if you look back at games. But over time, as he got busier and every part of this larger and larger organization wanted him to do stuff for the project, he'd get pulled away. So when he wasn't around, games suffered. And he said that sometimes choices made in Howard's absence needed undoing later. Now, one of the interesting things I find about that is Mark Dara, who we'll talk about in a little bit as a part of some other news stories, is that he has this video where he talks about game development. Mark Dara is former executive producer of BioWare and on the Dragon Age franchise. He says that once something's decided, you got to stick with the decisions. You can't be undoing decisions. Even if they end up being bad decisions, you waste more time and cause more problems undoing the bad decisions, which is interesting because you would think, oh, let's just undo and fix it. But no, because deciding something has to be final. It has to be a final thing. Otherwise, it's not really decided.
Yeah, I guess it depends on the scope and scale.
Sure. But it's funny to hear that this particular comment is that they actually went and undid things. And I know from other game developers specifically, no, you can't undo things like that.
Death by committee is a thing.
It is. It definitely is a thing. Yeah. Bureaucracy. Like you said, he said the studio felt more bureaucratic. The expectation was your job can't also be making content if you're actually managing that scope of the project. And that's not the way that he liked developing games. That's part of the overall dissatisfaction, was that he liked to be hands-on with the games that he was making. So it seemed like the managers were more managing than developing at that point. So, yeah, I think this is a very interesting interview. The thing people have been pulling out from this, and the entire actual link for this article says that he wanted Elder Scrolls 6 to be like The Empire Strikes Back. That's cool and all, but I don't really care what his dream of the story was, because that's not what the actual story of the game ended up becoming. Like, do you care that he had planned to make it an Empire Strikes Back story where the good guys lost?
No,
because that's not the story. Like, that's not what actually is going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen, but that was the pull.
The Elder Scrolls games famously aren't sequels, really. I mean, they may be in the same world, but they're not continuous, from my understanding. So if the bad guys win, like, what does that mean? Does it mean we're going to have to play Elder Scrolls 6-2 to get the next part of the story? That's
no. His plan was the Thalmor, the bad guys in 5, would win in 6, and then in 7, your new hero would come in and beat them up, and they'd lose then. Like, that was the plan. That you were going to have
my other pushback to that great idea is, if you would have made Empire Strikes Back and then made people wait 15 years to complete the story, I might have gone to Maryland to raise pitchforks against the company.
Yeah, well, that was one of the things that he said. That's not a way. He literally says in this interview, that's not a good way to end the game and say, yeah, we'll see you in 10, 15 years. Yeah. So anyway, that's that story. I thought that was really interesting. It's they don't have a full interview. It's just like snippets and quotes through this article, but I would like to read the full interview or see an interview to get the full context of the whole thing. But it was interesting for me as someone who's a huge Elder Scrolls fan. I love Oblivion. It's on my top 10 list of all time. I played the crap out of the remaster last year, and I'm beyond excited for 6 when it eventually does show up. So that was fun for me. Byron, I believe, unless you have anything else on this one, you've got the next news story.
Yeah, Civilization 7 was announced as coming to Apple Arcade on February 5th. This is the latest full PC or console game that is going to be ported to a mobile platform. This is a pre-part of our wildcard segment, and I just think it's super interesting to see the evolution of the mobile platforms becoming more in line. And if you look at the ability to market, your PlayStation or Xbox or even PC is probably dwarfed by the amount of people who own an iPhone or an Android. And
Oh, definitely.
honestly,
Billions.
it's an untapped market. And I hope that developers are starting to see this. We can discuss later, but I kind of feel like unless something changes in the world, PlayStation and Xbox are probably on a limited time frame. I think everything is going to be your mobile device in not terribly long. I think is going to be your one device. And when you want to play games, if you want to cast it to your screen and play games, you may be able to do that. Right now, I can hook up an Xbox or a PlayStation controller to my iPad, play games on that. I can stream from my Steam library on my iPad. I can cast it to the TV. I can play it on my Apple TV. And yeah, I'm a subscriber to Apple Arcade. We do the Apple family, so I get space for on iCloud for our backups. I get Apple Music, Apple TV, which is amazing still, and Apple Arcade. And Apple Arcade, a lot of it is pay to play games that they have stripped the pay to play part out of it and given that to you for free. But you also get
At no additional cost.
at no additional cost. Yes, I mean but it's not, you don't have to struggle to earn them in the game. I played the heck out of one of the Castlevania mobile games, and you just unlock stuff as you went through, and it was nice. I played the heck out of Final Fantasy 1 on mobile. I don't buy games anymore because I just get them from Apple Arcade, and typically there's something that I want to play.
Yeah, you're right that it definitely is an untapped market. My concern is it's untapped market insofar as the number of devices available. The question is how many of those people are interested in the games that we want to play. I would argue most of them aren't interested in those games, because if they were, they would have just bought a console for the last 40 years.
But they maybe they don't want to spend the money for a console when they're already $1,000 into a phone, and maybe they don't want to play the same games. But if I remember right, isn't Candy Crush the top selling game of all time?
No,
It's something
Tetris
like that.
is.
If you
Tetris.
include mobile titles in,
Is Candy Crush a for sale game? Isn't Candy Crush free?
maybe top grossing games of all time, then
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I could say grossing. I'd believe grossing. Sure. I just I don't want studios who make our big AAA fun games to have to start catering to the mobile market. That's my concern, is that the attention span of the average phone user is someone who wants to pick up a game for 15 minutes and play for 15 minutes while they're standing in line somewhere, or while they're waiting on a TV commercial, or while they're waiting for someone to come out of the grocery store. Like, I don't want those to be the games that the big studios are making. I want us to have our big multi-hour experiences.
it can be both though, and the Nintendo Switch proves that.
Can it?
The Nintendo Switch has, yeah, as long as you've got suspend on demand, sure, you can do whatever you want to. I play both kinds of games on my device, and sure, there's games that I'll play whenever I'm riding the subway or whenever I'm on a car trip, and there's also games that I've just sat down and played. So it just depends. Civilization 7 it's a big title, but it's also turn-based, and it does lend itself to being able to drop in and out. Resident Evil 4 was part of this. The biggest problem you're going to have is you don't have one standard, and it's more of a problem for Android than it is for Apple. When Resident Evil 4 came out, it only ran on certain devices, and obviously as Apple typically has some better graphics qualities than Android, but you also have a wider net of Android devices that some of them are more on the low end, so your target is not going to be as narrow.
Yeah, I mean, there are way more Android users than Apple users globally, because Apple's really only popular here.
And you're typically more first party countries. Yeah. First world countries. I'm mixing poli-sci and video games.
Yeah. So I just feel it's a hard line to walk, because we've already seen mobile garbage make its way into proper games through microtransactions and through battle passes and loot boxes and all of these things that mobile started doing because of the race to the bottom to have free games, and they needed some way to make money, so they threw in all these microtransactions. And then the publishers of these big, real good games started saying, "Oh wait, we can charge for the game and throw in all of these garbage, additional ways to make money." And then they did that. And I fear what it's going to do to the games that I love if they start trying to meet not just the monetization practices, but the attention spans and the uh, taste of the mobile players. I do want to say, to your point on the potential limited lifespan of a PlayStation or an Xbox, I think that there is some fear of that, and there is some threat of that being true. But I also believe that there is always going to be some market for prestige console playing. I think that it may end up being small and it may end up being expensive, but I think there's always going to be the people that want the box under the TV, that want that dedicated power for the games that they play. I'm one of them. I don't have any desire to stream things. uh,
Maybe you can just dock your iPhone like you do a Nintendo Switch.
but the power that would require. I mean, my phone has a lot of power in it, but my PlayStation is magnitudes more powerful than what my phone can do processing wise, just by
I don't.
size alone.
That's becoming less and less true, especially whenever a PlayStation has a lifespan of 7 years. How long has the PS5 been out? Since 2020-ish?
2020, yeah, 2020.
And you get new phones every year, and the same chips that are in MacBooks are in your phones. And is a MacBook the same as a PC with a GeForce card? No, it's not. Not at least on the high end, but on the moderate end, it sure as heck is. And it's
Yeah, on the
certainly
moderate
better.
end, that's the problem. The
But
high
it's
end
certainly
is
better than a
where
PlayStation that was released 6 years ago, because PlayStations and Xboxes are developed years before they actually come out, and they're stuck on that technology for the most part throughout their entire life, until you segment the market even more by having the Pro version come out.
I would say that your iPhone from this year is probably still less powerful than my 6-year-old PlayStation or my, 2-year-old PlayStation 5 Pro. I think that it's still less powerful just based on the size, the chip size alone of the software, of the sock on, that makes the machine run. And the fact that we're not really shrinking things as much as we used to. We've hit like a diminishing returns on die shrinkage to make things smaller and more powerful at the same time. I don't know that for sure, but that would be my, if I were to guess, I would guess that my PlayStation is more powerful than the most recent iPhone in raw power capabilities.
I bet it's not, and I'm going to look up the number of was it teraflops or whatever, and I'm going
Well,
to say not.
teraflops is not the only thing that matters, but we can look.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm not going to do it now because it's going to take time, but I'll look and we can talk about it next week.
yeah, sure.
All right, well,
That's
we're going
my
to talk more.
understanding.
So move on to the next news story.
Yeah, so the next news story is mentioned a little bit ago in terms of Mr. Dara and studio shutdowns and things, layoffs. Meta closes VR studios and EA shuts down Anthem. These are just two quick headlines related to closures for us. But Meta has closed down 3 of its VR studios: Twisted Pixel, who developed Marvel's Deadpool VR; Armature Studio, which helped port RE4 Remake; and worst of all, Sanzaru Games, the developer of the acclaimed Asgard's Wrath series. Particularly 2 is the most acclaimed of them, but Asgard's Wrath 1 and 2, as well as the fan-beloved Sly Cooper 4, prior to its being purchased by Meta for PlayStation. I never played any Sly Cooper games, but I know that the people who love Sly Cooper love 4. Additionally, EA's BioWare's beleaguered attempt at a live service, Anthem, was shuttered this week after nearly 7 years online. Mark Dara, formerly of BioWare and Electronic Arts, did post a 3-hour and 40-minute YouTube video, which is actually a compilation of 3 different videos that he did about the memories and lessons of his time on Anthem. Check it out. It's a fascinating story, one of bad management and trusting people who you maybe shouldn't trust so much. And it's really just a very sad story for Dragon Age fans. That's really anything related to BioWare in the last 10 years or so is just a sad story for Dragon Age fans.
I think it's going to, the more this happens, and with the success of X33 this year, I really hope it's a signal to people that you can get the band back together in a different form and make something that you all really care about. And I would love if the BioWare team that did Dragon Age reformed themselves independently. And obviously they can't just redo Dragon Age, but they can do like Dragon Age.
Yeah, unfortunately for Dragon Age specifically, so much of that team is scattered across places, with Mark Dara doing his consulting on the side and Mike Laidlaw running Yellow Brick Games and the Eternal Strands that Eternal Strands studio that came out last year. David Gator is working on a card RPG thing after having done Stray Gods in Australia now. Like, those are the big three in my mind of people who were involved in Dragon Age. So that's probably not likely, but I do think that Exodus, it looks fantastic, which is the former Mass Effect team coming together to make Mass Effect without being Mass Effect. Like, that's happening. So that's really cool.
If Jake and Elwood can do it, anybody can do it.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
You're not going to explain?
I don't feel like I should have to, but you need to see the Blues Brothers.
Oh, okay. I've heard of that movie before. So I just want to say on the VR thing, what does this mean for the future of VR, Byron, in your opinion? Because Meta VR is like the standard for VR right now in terms of popularity and quality of games. I mean, they get all the good games on it, and even they're shutting down beloved studios. I mean, Sanzaru is a big deal. Like, that's a big deal for them to just buy it and shut it down like that after Asgard's Wrath 2, which was like the game. That's from everything I've heard about Asgard's Wrath 2, that is the game to buy to be convinced that VR could be a thing.
So I have two thoughts on it. The first is I don't care, because VR is still a level above just gaming, where you have an additional game console essentially you have to fork out for to get access to the VR games. And that's a barrier to entry that's going to miss most of the population. So I really hate, I even have a VR set. It's not the world's best, but it was given to me that I appreciate. I just had never played it a ton because I got cables draped everywhere. So
Which one do you have?
It's an HTC Vive.
The Vive, okay.
And I played it a few times and it was nice. It's just a lot of work. I didn't want to leave it set out.
Yeah.
When they can make an affordable VR set that doesn't require cables and crap to be draped around your entire room to be used, that's when VR will be a thing.
I mean, that's supposed to be what the Meta Quest 3S was. That was a $300 or $400 thing that was just a headset.
Yeah, and Meta can do whatever they want to. It'll be a cold day in hell before I give Zuckerberg any of my money for gaming. And I mean that with the fury of 1,000 suns. Apple tried it with the Apple VR set, and the daggum thing costs, what, $2,000? And it's a wonder that people didn't buy it. I think the closest thing, and I think this is a Meta product too, is when Google did it at one point in time, but now they've got the not Oakley, Ray-Ban glasses that are like AR. Right. I think you're going to have some sort of marriage of eyewear with...
Yeah, Google Glass is what you're thinking of, the original.
That was the original, and now it's like the Meta Ray-Bans, I think. I mean, one company owns all of the eyeglass business in the entire world, so...
Does it? I had no idea.
Yeah, they do. Look up the web of eyeglass companies. Oakley, Ray-Ban, those are the same company. That's why Warby Parker came along, is because everybody was tied together. I can't remember the name of the company off the top of my head, but yeah, they own Luxor, maybe? Like the Luxor. It's not the casino in Vegas.
Right. Okay, interesting. Yeah, Luxor. Lunar?
Something like that.
Lunar eyeglasses? I don't know.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. I'll have to look into that more.
Yeah, and so my second thought about it is I think IP should be like the Spider-Man franchise in movies. If Sony doesn't put out a Spider-Man movie every X number of years, the rights revert to Disney, Marvel/Disney. Mm-hmm. I think IP should be the same way.
But what, to the public domain?
Yes, 100%. When you create something, it's not created in a vacuum. It's not created in a bubble. And these things that are beloved live in the hearts of everybody in the world. And yeah, if you're not going to do something with, and I'm not saying it should be the same as Spider-Man in terms of time frame, but like nobody owes anybody else anything. But if you're just going to sit on something and not use it and not have plans to use it, put it out there and let somebody do something with it. Even if they can't profit off of it, release it to public domain or something.
Yeah, see, I agree in some ways with that. You also, part of the reason that we get those Sony Spider-Man villain movies that are all terrible is because they had to keep making movies in order to keep the license, and you don't want to force someone to make bad things in order so they continue ownership of a product. So maybe you need a longer time frame than whatever Sony's contract with Marvel 30 years ago was, but I see your point.
Or put some sort of performance check into it. It has to rank in the following place in a Metacritic or a Rotten Tomatoes or some other third party. I mean, that might lead to them paying newspaper writers to write good stories, but you'll find out about it. There's ways to do this kind of stuff. I mean, make it so if Morbius comes out, you lose the franchise. And you should have to pay everybody who saw Morbius $100,000 because those people probably deserve it.
Morbius wasn't that bad. It was stupid.
I don't like Jared Leto, so I did not watch it. I have not watched the new Tron either. It's not that I don't like him. I kind of resent him being in everything, and he doesn't draw me to anything, so I kind of resent them shoving him down everybody's throat. I thought 30 Seconds to Mars was a pretty good band. I don't need to see him in everything that's out.
Yeah, I understand that feeling. I liked him in that movie Lord of War with Nicolas Cage.
I know of the movie. I have not seen it.
Nicolas Cage's character becomes a gun runner. It's fun. It's a good movie.
I'm plus minus on Nicolas Cage. I like the old Nicolas Cage stuff. I feel like current Nicolas Cage is a parody of Nicolas Cage.
Intentionally so, I'm pretty sure. Like, I think he does that intentionally. But so what about Anthem here? What's your experience with Anthem? Did you ever play? Do you have any knowledge of, any interest in?
I don't do a lot of I did not play Anthem, I don't think. I played a live service game recently and it was okay. I played it for I don't know, maybe 3 weeks and then stopped. I'm looking through my library. I don't typically play live service games.
Anthem is only on EA apps, so you wouldn't see it in Steam anyway.
Oh, I have EA apps somewhere. I just don't run it unless I'm using an EA game.
Yeah. So I played Anthem at launch. I bought the Legion of Dawn edition, their fancy deluxe edition thing or whatever. It was fun. I enjoyed playing it. It was kind of buggy, not broken buggy, but kind of buggy. But it was so repetitive. They didn't know the gameplay loop. And if you hear about the development troubles of the game, you're like, oh yeah, they didn't actually know what the gameplay of this game was going to be until it was basically about to launch. So it makes sense that half of the time you were playing the game was shooting, and the other half of the time was shooting things while standing close to an object while a bar went up. Like, stand in the circle and raise the meter.
Fun.
Yeah, it was not great in that regard. I played it with my buddy, mostly multiplayer. I think we played that whole game multiplayer because it wasn't that long of a story. My buddy Mazrin, shout out to Mazrin, haven't talked to him in a bit. Good guy. We used to go to BlizzCon together. Gotta check in with him, see how he's doing. So that was it was fun to fly. That was the coolest part, was that this was probably the first game that really nailed what flying was supposed to feel like in a game. It was you were basically flying in Iron Man suits. You were essentially Iron Man in an interesting world that was very much run down, and they had so much that was supposed to happen. Like they were going to change things and add things, and it was going to shapeshift as the seasons progressed and all of that. And then obviously they killed the game before any of that happened. And they had this main Fort Tarsus, where you would walk around in first person very slowly, talking to characters in there, and do the BioWare-like thing, because it was trying to be a mix of a BioWare story and a live service game, and they just never quite found that balance, because the story was kind of interesting, if not entirely finished, and the characters were pretty good, but there was no party. You didn't have your cast members of people to run around with, so it just wasn't. It just missed. It missed on everything. It was really like I think it's got like a 60 on Metacritic or something, and it really does go like that 2/3 of the way there for all the stuff that it wanted to do, but it didn't hit. It didn't fully do anything. It's a shame. It's a real shame.
So I got a couple thoughts on live service games, and they may be controversial. I don't know, and like with most of my thoughts, I don't really care. First of all, if you're going to announce a live service game, you should have a minimum service requirement that you're advertising. We will have this game up for no less than a year, no less than 2 years.
Yeah.
And if you can't achieve that, maybe you got to pay something out to the people. And I guess that means that you might have to go bankrupt if you can't do it. But if you're only allowing people to play a game in a certain way, and they shell out $50, $60, $70 for that game,
Yeah.
you need to back it up. And second of all, with any kind of live service game, once the game is dead and shuttered, they should have to release the ability to create servers and let people build their own servers. Even if you can't update the code or anything like that, you could at least install the server and run it and accept people to come in.
Yeah, I agree with that. There's a lot of logistics around that and a lot of legalities, and I recognize that as a lawyer. I do understand some of the complications there, but I actually fully back the concept of people should be able to access things as long as they want to access them if they've paid you money for it. I don't agree with the licensing structure that we have as a society where everything is licensed now and we can terminate your licenses anytime we want and you don't own anything anymore. Like I am very much against that as a philosophy. And I know that kind of goes against everything that society's become at this point, including my own profession, that most people are all about licensing things. But I think it's ridiculous and I can't stand it. There's a reason I buy discs for my games still. That's it.
So I used to work for a company that did software development, and for at least some of the time that I was there, we kept code in escrow. And if the company went bankrupt, they released the escrow to the customers and said, we are not here to support this anymore because the company would be dead and gone. But
Right.
You are welcome to have the code that you licensed and paid for and continue to maintain it on your own. And honestly, that's fair.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. That's very fair for sure.
And the consequences of having a rigid structure and the ability to pull games away from people who have spent their hard-earned money on it is piracy. And as a professional who has to abide by a certain code of ethics, I will say that legally speaking, piracy is wrong. But you have to understand, whenever you make owning economically disadvantageous and the ability to maintain your ownership at disadvantageous, then expect people to do things that you don't want them to do to obtain these items.
Yeah, I mean that's true. Absolutely, people are always going to they're always going to figure out a way to own the thing that they want to own. Even if they don't legally purchase it, they're gonna keep access if they can.
Piracy really took a hit whenever streaming services first came out, and they were priced what people thought was a fair amount of pricing. They weren't going to go and pirate whatever TV show or movie whenever they could pay $7 for it.
Access to things is how simple access to things is how you reduce piracy. You want to get money, then you have to charge a fair value for it. I mean, that's just true. And unfortunately for streaming and some of that, the streaming services keep so much of the money, and then the musical artists ended up getting the hit with the lost revenue in that regard. And maybe that's part of it too. But I want to ask you about your stance on some of this stuff when it comes to licensing. Is confusing to me because you are a digital game buyer. So you're just licensing those games. Anyone can come in and take those licenses away at any time.
Correct. And also, it depends on where you buy them. I don't do it, but there are people who buy games on GOG because they do maintain the license to play it forever. By and large, if it's a game that I know that I will want to play multiple times after I beat it, then I will buy the physical disc for it. I have the physical disc of all the Horizon games because I want those games.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these games, am I ever going to play them again? Probably not. Like I said, what I have,
you're a Game Pass subscriber too. That's even less ownership.
Yeah,
Zero ownership.
And if if X33 went off of Game Pass tomorrow, I would probably buy a copy the next time it went on sale just to continue to have access to it because I like it that much.
Yeah.
But by and large, I don't care. Like right now, I'll talk about it in a minute, but I'm playing Indiana Jones. And when I finish Indiana Jones, I will likely never pick it up again. And
Yeah.
for that, like a subscription model is perfectly fine.
Yeah. I have a list of games that I want to buy the physical discs for that I have digitally for one reason or another. Like Hogwarts Legacy, I have digitally because the deluxe edition was sold out physically by the time I thought to pre-order it. I have the super duper fancy edition of Horizon Forbidden West, which came with a digital code, so I want to buy the complete edition of that physically still. It's just a matter of having the resources to buy games a second, third, fourth time. I can't even tell you how many copies of Yakuza I own at this point, and I'm going to buy another one because Yakuza 3 Remastered is about to be delisted outside of the bundle digitally, and I want to have the digital version of that, even though I own two different physical versions of it right now. Yeah.
But it just depends to me on what it is. Like I play Magic
Fair.
Arena, and we'll talk about that again. I know that if Wizards of the Coast decides to shut down Magic Arena, I am out every dollar that I've spent on the game.
Right.
But I play it for two reasons. One, I can do it whenever I want to, wherever I want to, and I can pick it up and put it down. I don't have to travel to the local game store to play against somebody. And the second is I got a closet full of Magic cards. I don't want any more Magic cards. I'm not collecting them in a way that I'm going to sell them or put them on display for any real reason.
Right.
So I get it, but the barrier to entry is smaller. It costs less to get what I need to play with
Yeah.
in any given set. You can craft cards and they all cost the same depending on the rarity. You don't have to worry about this card that's hyped costs $120 a card, which is what I used to have to be concerned with.
Yeah. Fair enough. All right. Well, let's move on to our final story of the week then. And this one's back over to you, sir.
Speaking of things closing down, GameStop is closing over 400 stores as a part of its cost-cutting measures per report from Polygon. As of February 2025, GameStop had 2,325 stores. So about a year ago, they were over 2,300. They have closed some during 2025, but not as much. So they're probably somewhere in the 1,500 to 1,900 stores now. It's a sign of the times that the physical game retailers are having trouble. Notably, last week, GameStop pledged billions to CEO Ryan Cohen if he can increase the company's market cap from $9.3 billion to $100 billion, which I don't think he's going to be able to do, but more power to him.
Yeah, I mean, that's like a $90.7 billion increase or whatever.
Yeah, and he's almost in the buggy whip industry. Like it's not a growing industry.
I almost thought this was a typo, like 9.3 to 100 billion.
Yep.
Like I thought it was 9.3 to 10.
No, I double checked it also. It's what's happened to GameStop has been super interesting in the past 5 years because they were a meme stock, and there's no real reason why their stock should behave the way that it does other than it caught onto the meme bandwagon. Like I said, it's the buggy whip industry. Physical sales, one reason or the other, and if you like it or not, they're not going as well as the game industry in total. And if there is a game crash or a game recession this year or next year, it might kill GameStop.
Yeah. I think GameStop may survive because I'm pretty sure that when the stock was in the middle of all that crazy high, I think they sold like billions of dollars in stock that they owned. And like,
yeah, they've navigated
cash flush.
They've navigated their sinking ship through the typhoons as well as they could. But I mean, they're not selling Funko Pops anymore. And that was the big draw of GameStop. I have not been to a GameStop in probably 2 years because it wasn't a pleasant place to visit anyway. I thought some of their pre-sale stuff was predatory. Some of their renewed equipment was kind of predatory. So I just never really cared to go to GameStop.
I have a lot of good memories with GameStop. I talked about this on my old podcast that I used to co-host. that I have a lot of good memories. I used to go to GameStop every day in college because I went to UCF, and I was lucky enough that we had a GameStop on campus. I could just walk over there to the GameStop, and I would go every day. Even if I wasn't buying anything, I just go to look around, chat with people. I made like friends. I'm still Facebook friends with some of the people that I met that used to work at that GameStop there. Like I have a lot of good memories with GameStop, not having ever worked there. I have a lot of bad memories too, because I do think that their service has gone downhill over the last decade or more. But when I was going there regularly, they were always friendly. I always had nice people. They were always like exciting, and they never really pushed hard to sell me things. Probably because they knew I was always going to buy stuff there anyway. They didn't need the hard sell. So I have a lot of good memories with GameStop, and it really makes me sad to see its downfall in this way. A good 3 years, 2.5 years going to that GameStop, because eventually it shut down the one on campus and they had to move to one across the street and whatnot. So it was good times. Oh well, what are you gonna do?
We can move on to what we're playing, and you're up first for that.
Yeah. Let's chat what we're playing here. So, since we have last spoke, I have finished and platinumed Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. It is a super easy platinum. I still decided to go through and 100% it and do a whole bunch of extra stuff. So it took me way longer than it needed to. I just enjoy Yakuza games, so I did that. Overall, really, really good game. Some problems with the pirate aspects of it. The biggest issue with the pirate side of things, Byron, is that the islands that you go to get treasures are really repetitive. You just walk in, kill a few guys, run through some corridors, and like that's it. And you open a treasure chest and you get more money and points. So it doesn't really incentivize you, because you literally this really cool treasure, unless it's a ring, which is like how you enhance your abilities. All you get are money and pirate points. Like there's nothing else to the treasure. So I was well past needing any of that for a long time, but it was still fun overall to do and completing it. And really good story. I really thought this was a good story. I liked the look at Majima and his inner mind as someone who had amnesia for most of the game until he remembered everything by the end. It's like, okay, interesting to see that some of it is his personality, just even without his experience, and some of it is his lived experience. And then the ending, always a touching ending to these games lately. I really, really appreciated it. That's all I have to say really left on that. I talked a lot about that before. Do you have any questions left on that one? Anything you're curious about?
I guess I'll save them for when the next Yakuza game comes out, in February?
Yeah, I don't know if I'll be playing that one right away, though, because we've got another one that we'll be talking about in a minute that I'll be playing. But
I was being sarcastic about that, but okay.
It is in February. Yeah, that's the next one. Yeah, February 12th. The next piece is Trails in the Sky, first chapter. I know, Byron, only a couple seconds on it. You don't want me to talk about it too much.
Joe platinumed it. Move on.
I did platinum it. I went back and did 2 more runs of this game, skipping the cutscenes, because without the cutscenes, the game is like 3 hours. If you skip all of the cutscenes and only do the mandatory fights, the game is 3 hours long. It's remarkable. And it took me 60 hours to do this game otherwise.
I hate cutscenes. I'm just going to say it. I hate cutscenes.
I love cutscenes. They're my favorite part of games.
Between chapters, cool. Intro to the game, cool. Otherwise, I don't need cutscenes.
No, I want. Give me all the cutscenes. Feed them to me. I'll take all the cutscenes.
If I want to watch a movie, I'll watch a movie. If I want to play a game, I'll play a game.
No. Oh, no. Dagger to the heart, buddy. Yeah, I did go back. So the original game took me like 65 hours, just about. It took me another 7 hours to run through the game on New Game Plus on very easy mode with plus 50 levels modifier turned on. Plus, I had to do some grinding to get my characters up to level 99. And then I did that, and then I went back later that day, actually, because I did that one day and then finished it the next day. And then later that day, I went back, restarted on Nightmare, turned the plus 50 levels modifier off, and so I just zoomed through Nightmare in like 3 hours. And the only hard fights came at like the very end of the game when I had to actually like focus there, because even though I was still like 50 levels higher than the enemies, I was still taking some big hits and needed to be very careful with it. Absolutely adore this game. Adored it. Second best game of the year behind only the game I'm going to talk about next from last year. I don't have enough good things I can say. I'm so excited to play the second chapter and just see where the story goes and see these characters more and just really get involved in all of this. But I did get the platinum for it, and I did that out of love for this game. It was well worth the additional 11 hours or so that I spent on it. Well worth it, absolutely. Truly phenomenal. I think my final clock in time was 79 hours and 30 minutes or something like that. Well worth it. Byron, well worth it, sir. Questions?
Moving on.
No questions. Daggers. Yeah, so new stuff. This is new stuff. All right. I have been playing Kingdom Come Deliverance 2's DLC. I did the entirety of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I got the trophy that was like, do almost everything and whatnot. Well, the achievement is on Steam. And then I stopped. Once I finished the game, I stopped. I'm not one to go back to DLC until it's all released. And now that they're done with DLC as of late last year, I figured it was time to go back. So I did the Brushes of Death DLC. Byron, how familiar are you with KCD2?
Absolutely none, other than it's supposedly pretty involved. If it goes on sale, I'll probably buy it. But it was on sale for Christmas, but I was playing the other stuff then, so I didn't buy it. But
it's been $30. Like it's been half off before. It's been $30 a few times now. It is a phenomenal game. For anyone who hasn't played it, you play as Henry of Skalitz. This is the sequel to the first Kingdom Come Deliverance. The first one is a really good game too. When I played it at the time, it was much more buggy and broken. It's a very small team that made the game with a big ambition. It was not that huge of a game, but it still was very in-depth. And this next one, the sequel, was really just an improvement over everything. I don't think there's anything that they did in Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 better than Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, which is interesting because when I think of like Ghost of Tsushima versus Ghost of Yotei, I like some things of Tsushima a lot more than I like in Yotei. This is a straight up, we just made everything better. Like nothing is worse in this game. They even the combat, which was really good but really complicated in the first game, they simplified it just enough so that it's easier for people. It used to be like a 5-point star system for where your attacks could go, and you had to like be very careful with and precise when you were doing different attacks as you meleeed. And now it's like 3 points in the middle. It's 5-point star and the center strike. Now it's 1, 2, and bottom. It's like so much simpler. Everything feels better. Almost no bugs in this whole game, and it's massive. The reactivity of this game is just crazy. The storytelling in the game, just so good. The voice acting, the performances, everything about this game is phenomenal, honestly. And so I did the Brushes of Death DLC, where you meet a painter you find him tied to a tree in the woods about to be eaten by wolves, and you rescue him. And you find him there, and you see him talking to a skull, a painted skull. And it seems like the skull is talking back to him. And there's a big mystery around, like, who is this guy? What's going on? I'm not going to spoil any of the story, but I will say it's a really good little story. It's just as good as any of the side quests in this game. It's kind of touching in some way. Like, there's a lot about grief and regret and moving on. And I still love that you're given so many choices about how to handle things. For example, you have to deal with his old rival, his old friend / rival from his youth. And one way that you can do it is the way that it tells you to do it. Or if you want, you can just walk up to the guy and kill him. And then he'll be like, well,
how hard is it?
It's not hard. He's very easy to kill him. But you could do one way where you like scare him off, or one way you just walk up and snap his neck or stab him, like anything you want. Like that is a totally valid approach to this game, and it usually is. There's an achievement for not killing the enemy of this guy, where he's like, there's a bounty on this guy and he's a big murderer, and then you could just not kill him and you get an achievement for not killing him. And it's like revenge isn't worth it or something is what it's called. Like it's so involved and considerate as to all of the different pathways that you can go. I love this game. I loved it. It was my favorite game of last year. It is really a truly generational, remarkable game that if you actually do play it at some point, Byron, you will realize its superiority to Expedition 33. And I think that I am looking forward to whatever Warhorse, the studio behind it, does next a great deal, because what they did here is phenomenal. I've got 2 more DLCs to do. There's one where I become your character is a blacksmith by trade. Like his dad was a blacksmith, so he's a blacksmith. And this next one, the DLC, is I get to like start my own forge and continue to like expand my blacksmithing capabilities or whatever. So that'll be fun. And then there's one where I get to infiltrate a monastery, which will be cool because there's a mission in the first game all about pretending to be a monk and infiltrating a monastery, and they're like kind of harkening back to that. So I've got those to do. That'll be what I play the rest of this weekend on that. And that's all I have to say on it, unless you have questions. You want to know anything more about it? Does this interest you at all?
Yeah, I'll play it whenever it goes down in price when I don't have something else to do. I was
It's
playing
a
something
big
else.
game.
Yeah, I have the first one on Epic. It was given away on Epic. The rules
Yeah.
for Epic is you on Thursday you log in, you get your free game, and then you log off. I have played some good games on Epic, so I do appreciate them giving out free games, but I don't buy games from them typically unless they're the only place to get it. I'd play it. Just my time is limited, so I need to finish stuff that I've been wanting to play, which is going to be part of what I talk about, and then I'll play it.
If your time is limited, I would say play the first one because it is a much shorter game. It is much, much shorter, much, much smaller. You already own it. Don't try to do everything. Don't look into doing everything in the game. Just follow the story, learn about Henry, learn his quirks and his traits and who he is. And then if you like that at all, then the second one is just going to be that like 4 times over and improved.
Yeah, I want to finish the game that I'm playing now that I'll talk about. I want to
of course.
Nier, which is limited by when I stream it, which I'll talk about. I want to play Red Dead, and I've decided I'd like to get through Witcher 3 before Witcher 4 comes out. So
you got time on that one.
Yeah, and I still need to finish Final Fantasy VII and Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Yeah, you're in the middle of way more games than I'm in the middle of. But yeah, yep. I think the KCD1 is a pretty short. Let me see really quick. KCD1, how long to beat? It's like 40 hours for the main story. So it's pretty short in the grand scheme of things. But KCD2 is much longer than that. The main story of KCD2 is like 60 hours. And again, that's the kind of game that you're going to want to do the side stuff because it actually adds a lot more flavor to it. So when you have time, yeah, I love both of those games. Warhorse is fantastic. And then I have been playing one other thing, but Byron has also been playing that other thing. So I'm going to pass it to him and then we'll both talk about this other thing together.
Yeah, I'll put that last on my list so we can confer. First of all, I said I was going to stream on Thursday Nier. I did not because I ended up going out with some friends. Yeah, the 0 listeners and viewers who are going to watch it are probably very disappointed. I think there's more people who watch after the fact. But I will do my best to do Thursday this week. I still like Nier. I still want to play Nier, but I went out with the real people and I enjoyed doing that and had a good time with that. I finished Ball Pit. When I say finished it, I got all the achievements. I did not get all the new game plus. I told myself I was done with the game. I'm still playing Ball Pit, and I'm still enjoying every minute of it. It's still tremendous fun, even though there's nothing left to do other than to finish the plus level. So I'm just going to keep playing Ball Pit until I get tired of it because it's still enjoyable. I don't know. It's fun to play. I've gotten all the evolutions. I still like doing it. I don't know what to say. And then I guess the main game that I've been playing that is not the one we're talking about is Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. I tried to play more of Divinity this week, and I couldn't bring myself to it. It was repetitive, and I decided that I wasn't really enjoying it. Maybe I'll play more in the future. Maybe I won't. I don't know. I haven't been missing it, so I picked up another game that I had started and decided I was going to get through it, and that is Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. It's a great game. It is not a perfect game. It's got its issues, but it's very faithful to the Indiana Jones movie lines. I know you haven't seen Indiana Jones.
Just 4 and 5, just number 4.
There's no number 4. There's only the first 3. They stopped making them after that.
How can it be the first 3 if there's no 4?
Because there's ones that claim, and just you have to clarify. The voice actor is not Harrison Ford, but does a really good Harrison Ford.
It's just Troy Baker.
Yeah, I was thinking it was, but I wasn't 100% certain, so I decided not to say.
Yeah,
he does a great Harrison Ford, and he sounds like Indiana Jones, so it's very faithful. The story is something similar to what would happen in Indiana Jones, a little more fantastic than even some of like the Jesus stuff in that. I guess not. I guess it's not even if the first one is Ark of the Covenant. It's hard to get more fantastic than that. The premise is a giant comes into the university's museum and steals an artifact, and Indiana Jones tries to go recover the artifact. And there's obviously a Nazi Vatican conspiracy involved.
Isn't there
Play the game
always?
to find out more. In Indiana Jones, there is, because I mean, what was happening during the 30s in the world, the Nazis. So I just finished. It's not much spoilers, so I don't care to say it, but I just finished the Vatican level, and I enjoyed that. It's a well put together game. I do have some issues with it. The
Tell
the
me
first
about these issues.
I'm hoping that I'm not locked out from something. A friend of the show, MG, and I were talking about it, and he says that you can always go back to things, but there are some story areas where I progressed through and I couldn't backtrack when I decided that I wanted to go find things that I might have missed. Like there was an area where there was a wall, and Indiana Jones says, "This wall would be really easy to burn down." But I couldn't carry a torch over there. You can only carry an item and then throw the item if it's not your equipped item, which when you're in different costumes. So when you're Indiana Jones costume, it's the bullwhip and the gun. When you're in the priest costume, it's a little cane. And there are other ones that have different things that I don't want to go too much into yet. And I tried everything from like throwing a torch across the chasm and then I couldn't find it. And I looked in the next room. I'm like, oh, there's all kinds of fire in there. Maybe I can find another torch. I go in there and the door closes behind me. So now I feel like I'm kind of stuck. I haven't been able to figure out how to get back into that story area because it's a quasi open worldish area. And then there's the story lanes.
Yeah, so it's Power Pick says that there are no missable trophies, which means anything that was there you can go back and get. And it says that you can go back during post game and free roam. So it's after the game you can go back.
Okay. So maybe I'll have to wait if I decide to do that. I started doing some collections and I was like, ugh, the travel between areas it's just too corridory and I wasn't really enjoying it. So I decided to move on. I try to get as much stuff as I can. I didn't find out until the end of the Vatican stage that I could have bought maps that allow me to see where things are on the map. So
sorry, one point I'm seeing here, like the Nazi Zeppelin or Sukhothai hotel maps are locked after completing levels, but any collectibles that are missed in these locations are relocated to the regional hub.
Well, I just found my first Zeppelin and I rode it from Venice, not from Venice, from Rome to wherever I'm going right now, which I'm not 100% certain because I stopped the game and lifted weights this morning. But my next thing is that you have these different costumes in the game. And when I'm in the Vatican, I have a priest costume. And I'm a priest from Boston, which is why I talk like an American. And for the most part, it lets me get through areas that have Nazi, or have not Nazis, brown shirts, the Italian fascists there. It allows me to get through without a problem. But if you get too close to one of the captains or whatever, they see through your disguise. How the heck do you know that I'm not a priest? Like, priests are just regular people who wear black outfits with a collar. Come on, like they don't have like a magic aura or anything. Like, what's up with that?
That's a very common trope in games with costumes.
It's just silly. And then at the end of the stage, and I knew this was coming because I'd heard about it, you can find costumes towards the end of the stage that let you run around the stage without problem. And for the most part, that's true. Towards the end of the stage, I found the brown shirt costume, and I can wander around as a brown shirt. I hope they don't make me talk Italian because I don't know that Indiana Jones can speak Italian. But it's neat. I like it. I want to play more. I want to get through it. I'm not in a rushing standpoint. Like there's some games you just put your head down and you push through.
Yeah.
This game hasn't felt that way to me yet.
How do you feel about it being first person, though?
I don't mind. I played Elder Scrolls first person, so it's a similar kind of game. It's, quasi open world. Typically I like first person games for shooters and less so for these adventure type games.
Right. That's right. Yeah.
But I'm okay with it. It hasn't been a problem. Some of the platforming has been a little bit challenging. The end of the level I was just on, they mark places you can climb with like white sheets or white paint so you know where you can grab on. And I'm on the stage and the bar is over here and then the white sheet is over here. And so I kept aiming for the white sheet and I kept falling. And it wasn't until that I was like, well, screw it, I'm going to try to get to the other side that I was able to get through. So
Yeah.
that was a bit of a challenge. I always have an issue with a game that's not Mario Brothers trying to be a platformer. And some games it's better than other games. Horizon is fine for some platform type things, but some of the ones that have clunky controls, they don't need to be platformers. You don't need platform aspects to it. You're never going to be as tight as Mario.
I guess that's true.
Yeah, so that's that game. More to come as I play more of it. My
Cool.
biggest complaint for it is the game is a VRAM hog. I have a 4070 Super, which I wish had 16 gigs of RAM, but for various reasons that I don't want to go into now, it's a 12 gig card. Um, and playing at 4K with upscaling, if I don't turn some of the things off on it, the VRAM usage goes over the available VRAM, and that's a problem. So I saw that luckily and knew that was a potential problem ahead of time. My next card will be a 16 gig card if I'm ever able to afford a new video card again, because that's not gotten better. When I
Yeah.
got the quick story is when I got the 4070, I didn't want to spend the money to get a more expensive card because I thought something better was on the horizon. And I thought that I'll just get the 4070 and be good for another year or so till a better series comes out. And the 50s came out and they weren't that big of a change. And the 5070 was also a 12 gig card.
Mm-hmm.
There's other things involved, like design of the cards that I did. Anyway, eventually, maybe in the 60s.
I've got my 4090 with 24, so.
Yeah, that's... I'm in retrospect, maybe a 4090 was the right answer because a 5090 is over $2,000, but I still think
I paid $2,000, so
that's an absurd amount of money to pay for a video card. Period. End of story. I'm not paying that much money for a video card.
I mean, the 5090 and the 4090 had the same MSRP. They were both $2,000. So
I thought 5090 was higher than that, but $2,000 is an absurd amount of money for a video card. I will not pay that. So, yeah. Anyway, that's Indiana Jones. I'll play more. It still looks pretty, but most games you can play without hitting your VRAM cap of 12 gig. So
yeah,
I'm not sure what they're doing. I've read that the textures are big, and maybe so. The textures are nice, but I've played other games, and Cyberpunk still looks amazing, and it performs just fine. I'm hitting 80 FPS without... Here's the funny thing is multi-frame generation does 0 for me. Time to time it reduces the FPS because sometimes when I turn on MFG, it puts me over the VRAM limit, therefore cutting into performance. So I actually perform better without frame generation on. So
that's funny.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Yeah. More to come.
I don't have any interest in Indiana Jones in the Great Circle. I never played the Wolfenstein games, so Machine Games is just whatever. I know some people love them, but I
played the original Wolfenstein games.
Well, I mean, these are the guys that made the most recent, the New Order and the New Colossus. This is them. So
I have one of them, and I started playing it and never really caught on for whatever reason.
Didn't click.
Yeah, this game isn't a shooter. It's an adventure game because it's Indiana Jones. Right. So last on my list and last on Joe's list is Dragon Quest VII Reimagined demo. I guess both of us played all the way through it.
Yes, I did. I was like, I think Byron finished it, so I better finish this so we can actually for once talk about the same thing.
Yeah, I finished it earlier in the week.
I did it last night. I finished it, I think, at 1 a.m. or something.
So what are your thoughts on it?
I really, really liked it. My biggest complaint about it is I have a couple complaints about, but I think the biggest, most noticeable one is I wish I could zoom in just a little bit more. I feel like I'm just a little too far out from the character when I'm when I'm like running around. Just a little bit more would be okay. Like just a tiny bit closer to the screen, like to the character itself.
I don't like, in the similar vein, I don't like that it's quasi 3D. Sometimes they give you full control of the camera. Sometimes they limit how the camera moves, and I don't like that.
Environments inside environments. Sometimes
pick one or the other. Like don't switch back and forth.
Yeah, I don't mind it that much. It was a little weird at first, but I let that go. I really had fun with this thing. I thought that the demo itself was pretty chunky. It was like 4.5 hours, so I got a good feel of it. I liked the writing of the game. I thought it was well written. I was very interested in the story and this world, and I didn't see all of the things that happened coming. Like, it wasn't super predictable, which I thought was fun. I predicted some things as they happened, but I didn't predict all of it. And I'd heard people talk about the demo, and even having heard people talk about it, I still didn't know it all. I think that the gameplay is Dragon Quest. It's exactly what Dragon Quest 11 was, with the frizz and the power up. You know, it was get pumped or whatever in 11, and now it's like the same thing worked up here. So I think that's cool. I like that. I think I said this from the moment I saw the trailer. I really like this art style. I think Kiefer is the ugliest thing to ever exist.
See, I like the other characters. I don't like Kiefer, and I really dislike the Lord Farquaad art style. I think it's just stupid.
So you don't like the other? You like the other characters, but you don't like.
They're
Kiefer?
Fine. Like they're not overly anime-ish. Like that's what I hate about the Trails games. Honestly, it's fine. I mean, I'm used to like drakes and whatever the little bats are called in Dragon Quest and the slimes. I mean, I'm used to that kind of stuff, I guess now, but it's not overly silly and cutesy to me.
Yeah, I actually I thought I liked the art style from the trailer, and I confirm I like the art style in even this. Kiefer's just really ugly. I think I don't know what they did to his face. It looks like they just smushed it in too much when they made the clay model. They based
his
him
head's
off
too
of.
big.
It's not about it. All their heads are too big. His face just looks like it's indented in a weird way. But overall, I really like this art style. Little complaints, minor quirks that I don't like that almost every button you hit, even moving the analog sticks, will move the dialogue along.
Oh, really?
I'm a fiddler. I'm constantly fiddling with the controllers, but I'll hit the buttons or move the sticks.
See, I'm like this during cutscenes. I'm like,
Yeah, and I'm constantly like this. I'm just like, I'm hit like just fiddling, just moving things around. So if it's cutscene going on, I'll just like be playing with the sticks. I'm always fiddling, and everything you hit on the controller moves the stupid dialogue along. So I accidentally skipped a couple of lines because I just bumped the analog stick, or actually hit the L2.
I'm not. I mean, I can fiddle with stuff, but like with this, I'm not fiddling. But I am trying to move the dialogue along because I do read fast, and I want the dialogue to move as fast as I move. And I like that. That's one of the things I don't like about Indiana Jones is I have to sit there and watch him, and I can't skip through really easily. With this, I could like click through, and I like that. One of the things that I didn't like is that I thought the voice acting was spotty in terms of all the cutscenes were voice acted. Some of the interactions were voice acted, and some of them weren't. And I don't know why. It's just either make it voice acted or not.
Trails has the same thing. It's one of the weird. It's just like a budget saving measure. You just pick and choose which ones you want to be voice acted or not. I wish there was more consistency with it. That's probably my biggest complaint of Trails is that you're not sure which ones are going to be voice acted, and that's the same in this. I'm just at this point in my life of playing games, particularly with like Yakuza games too. I'm just used to just never really knowing which is going to be voice acted or not. But it was good voice acting when they were voice acted. I really liked the voices themselves. I thought Maribel was exactly as annoying as she was supposed to be, and her voice actress did a good job portraying that. And I hope she gets less annoying and has some character growth.
I'm sure she will. There's supposed to be that conflict to start off with.
Yeah. But you liked it?
I liked it. I mean, like I said, it's Dragon Quest. I liked the combat. It wasn't very hard.
No.
I blitzed through most things. I had Kiefer die once whenever I was fighting one of the pumped up monsters that you get a coin from.
Yeah, the first one on the island to the south.
Yeah, he died, and the other two of them were able to finish him off.
I reloaded because Dragon Quest will not give you experience for dead characters, so I don't.
Whoopee.
I wanted experience. I don't want anyone to not get experience, so I reloaded. I actually ended up making use of the defend system, because you can defend. Huh?
I did not touch defend.
Well, I touched defend because I was trying to keep everyone alive, and once I did that, and I was figuring out like actually healing my characters and using their abilities a little bit. I mean, I learned. It helped me learn, and I used like a medicine leaf and whatnot. And I had the NPC helping at that point still. Yeah,
I never used a medicine leaf the entire time. I did cast heal with the main character.
Used one. I just used what actually ended up happening is I had when you use the heal all button on the map and it like heals everyone,
It
doesn't
sucks your
heal
magic
you,
points too.
but it doesn't heal you to full all the time. So my character had 2 points missing, and I accidentally hit heal on him for those 2 points instead of the person who took the hit. So I had to use the next turn to use the medicine leaf because I didn't have. I was like, I don't want to reload this whole thing again. And that's I did it. But yeah, I beat that monster because I just wanted to do everything I could, and it was cool. And then I got the heart. Yeah, but I didn't have anyone dead because I wanted to keep everyone alive.
Gotcha. So I had 2 negatives, and I'm pulling up one of them.
Yeah.
First one is, I'll just go ahead and say it. King Donald has aged poorly, and I don't like the name. The second one is it's a non-politics show, so we'll leave it at that. The second of specifically talking about budgeting and so forth. I ain't paying $60 for this game. I'll wait for it to go on sale. I will not play it on February 5th because I am not spending that money on that game.
Really? I think this is so much worth the money. I am hardcore in on February 5th.
$60 is a AAA game price, in my opinion. And I think this is $40 to $45 game. That's the price point that I would go for it.
I mean, I can understand that looking at the art style here, but it's also still something like a 100-hour game. You're getting your money's worth for sure.
Yeah, I'll wait.
That's fine.
It's a 20-year-old game. They didn't have to do any storyboarding for it. I'll wait for them to.
But they did. They changed the story in this game.
That's
the whole point of this. That is the whole point of this version. It's Reimagined. They redid the story.
Yeah, I'll wait for it to be less than $60. That is.
I was looking something up about this game when it came to changes and whatnot. I saw the stupidest controversy where they got mad that the artwork of one of the characters, one of her outfit, is changed from the original artwork because it shows slightly less cleavage than the original drawing.
So here's one of my problems with Dragon Age, and this is something Dragon whatever. And maybe it's because I've gotten older and I've had a kid of my own. The entire idea, and Dragon Quest was bad in this in 8. I can't remember about 11 or not, but like overly sexualizing the female characters, like that's a turnoff to me now. And society, I think, has changed. In Dragon Quest 8, you got like a bikini costume for one of the characters and it increased her magic power. And she made a comment about, I can't believe you're making me go into combat in this thing. And then it just went away and she's there with her boobs out. I hope that they've gotten rid of this. I think society has moved. I think one of my biggest turnoffs in the entire anime genre is that they seem slower to change because they're targeting a certain demographic with it. I thought when Wizards of the Coast changed their art style and said we are no longer going to be over-sexualizing female characters, they will be presented in a way that is appropriate for what they are doing. I thought that was a good change. And yeah, I hope this game is not like that. I'm not buying a game because a female character has cleavage, and if you are, then touch grass.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not either, but I'm also not buying a game because a female character has cleavage. Like, it doesn't turn me off either. If the game looks good, the game looks good. I mean, Stellar Blade is awesome, and she's, clearly intentionally designed to be like a sexy woman.
It very well may turn me off from buying a game, depending on what it is.
Yeah, see, it doesn't turn me off, but I mean, I like anime and stuff like that. Like, I enjoy those tropes. I think that's fun. I find enjoyment in that still, but I don't need it in my games. That's the point for me, is like getting upset over a game because they tweak a character design a little bit like that. Like, why are you, if you are playing games just for that, there are websites out there for you that you can use if that's your reason to play the game. Play the game because you like the story, because you like the gameplay and whatnot. And if you want those more prurient aspects, then that's fine. You can want those. You can find them in other places too. You don't need to get them in the games alone. So I just thought it was silly. I thought it was a very silly thing. And I checked. I looked at the difference in design. It's literally like, instead of being a low cut V, it's just like no cut. It's like, okay. Otherwise, she looks exactly the same. Like, that's okay, fine. It's a change. This is a new game. This is a new version of it. They want to change the thing. They can change the thing. Like, that's allowed. That's the whole point of reimagining something, changing it up. So
yeah, I think that's as much as I want to say. I like the game. I like the puzzles in the game. They weren't too hard. They weren't too easy. Oh,
Yeah,
okay, they were too easy, but they weren't
they were
mind-numbingly
perfect.
easy.
They were
Nah,
perfect
yeah.
puzzles.
I walked in, said, "I bet I have to push them in this order." I did one wrong, and I said, "Oh, that gets rid of that," and then I redid
Yep,
it, and
I did the same thing. You're talking about the colorful rocks.
yep, I
Yeah,
broke. I broke one of the side. I think whenever you hit it the wrong way, like the side went down, and I was like, "Oh, I can't do that." And then I
yep.
done
Yeah, I
move
did the
on.
same thing. I got a rock stuck that blocked the thing from hitting to break it. Yeah, I had the same happen. Yeah, I really liked it. I'm definitely all in on it. It is a week earlier than Kiwami 3 and Dark Ties, so that's interesting. The deluxe edition, if you buy the digital deluxe, you get it 2 days early, so you can start on February 3rd.
$75.
Uh, yeah, I'm not gonna do that because I'm gonna buy it physically. I was actually looking at pre-ordering it last night on Amazon, and Amazon was like, "We're sorry, we're having difficulty with our Amazon point system, so you can use your credit card and just buy it, or you can wait later." And I'm like, "Okay, then I'm gonna wait later. If I'm gonna pay for it, I'm gonna, because I was gonna use Amazon points. We have an Amazon credit card where you get points for purchases, and you can apply them to your Amazon purchases. And I was like, "Oh, I'll save some money on this game and buy it on Amazon, and bada bing, bada boom." But it wasn't working, so I'll probably go to GameStop and place the GameStop pre-order if the store is still open, I guess.
See if the Rochester one is on the list.
We have a bunch of Rochester ones, actually. There's one right next to where we went for dinner the other day. We went to this Japanese restaurant that was really good, and the GameStop is right next door. I have a terrible habit of going to that GameStop while they're on lunch break because they only usually have like one person in the store, and I go in the afternoon. And it was funny. I went there once, and it was like 2:30, and they were on lunch. I was like, I guess they're on lunch today. Oh well, I'll just wait half an hour until they get back. And I waited and I did what I needed to do. And then when I went again to pick up the thing that I was placing the order for, I went extra early. It was like 1 o'clock. I was like, all right, they went to lunch at 2 o'clock last time. I'll go at 1 o'clock. And they were at lunch again. It was the same person. They just chose a different lunch time. It was stupid. So I'll probably just go to the GameStop because I find that games that go to stores first tend to ship safer than games that ship to your home, meaning they're better packaged because they're in a bulk box of a bunch of stuff, and so they don't have damage or scratch marks or things. Whereas when they come to me via Amazon, they're usually just like thrown in a paper bag, and they come with like damage often, unfortunately.
Yeah, there's a human aspect to that too.
Well, that's true. And also, we have package thieves in my building, so I try to avoid
Cool.
packages here. Yeah,
Well,
I'm looking forward to it. I'm playing it, and I'll talk about it more then.
enjoy. No spoilers. All right, so let's
No
move on to our
spoilers,
wild
yeah,
card.
for the
How about
for the
that?
2 years.
It'll be on. The other one went on sale at Christmas time, and that was only a few months after. And maybe I should have pulled the trigger on 1 and 2, and I didn't. I don't know. I thought it would come down more. We'll see.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll go down on sale whenever this one comes out as kind of a teaser.
Maybe. But all right, wild card time.
Yeah, and I think this is going to be a shorter one because
It
we
will
spent
be
a lot of
very
time on
short.
other things. And I have to get ribs on the grill soon, so I am smoking ribs tonight. Yeah, so as part of the discussion from Civilization going to Apple Arcade and some of our talk about mobile games in general, what's your mobile obsession? Like, maybe you don't have one because we talked earlier and you can talk about that, but most people have like a mobile game that they obsess about, and it's their game they play whenever they're bored or they're just sitting somewhere.
Yeah, I don't have one. I have Genshin on my phone because I like to have the ability to do my Genshin dailies wherever I am if I need to, or if I have if I'm laying in bed and it's 3:37 in the morning and I have a stroke of, oh my God, did I do my Genshin dailies today? And I can just grab my phone and log in and check and make sure that I did my Genshin dailies. But I don't play games on my phone. I don't have any interest in games on my phone, really. I've tried games on my phone many times. I played the Dragon Age Legends game on my phone for a while. I played Hearthstone on my phone for a while. Genshin's on my phone, but I don't really play games on my phone with any consistency. I don't have a mobile obsession. If I'm on my phone, I'm texting someone or messaging on Discord, or I'm just scrolling social media to see what's going on in the world or reading news articles about things. I do technically have the full game of Grand Theft Auto San Andreas on my phone from a mobile port from many years ago. I've got that whole game on there, but I don't play it. I've played like half of it and I stopped. That's it. I don't care about mobile. I don't have any interest in anything mobile related at all.
I I do, but it has to be a certain kind of game. Games that have touch controls, I hate those because my thumb ends up going in a place where I didn't want it to be, and then the character doesn't move. And if movement matters, that sucks. I played all the way through Final Fantasy One, and it was fine because it's also a game with intentional movement. It's you can move in four directions because it's an NES game, and that was fine. But games that are designed for mobile, I think are great. I play Magic the Gathering on my phone almost every day, and with the exception of certain decks that may require more screen real estate because you have more cards to play, it lends very well to iPad, iPhone. I assume
Like
Android
Hearthstone.
also.
When I was playing Hearthstone,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's very similar. I played hands where that or decks where it ends up opening your entire graveyard up to being able to play those cards, and then you have 3 dozen cards across the bottom of the screen, and that can get kind of tight on a mobile device. But by and large, that works great. I did play Candy Crush for a long time, just because I like the match 3 games. I think they're fun. I think I spent a total of $5 on that, and all of those times where I was going to hop on an airplane, and for like $1.99, I could have unlimited lives for a 2 hour period, and that was worth it to me because I could sit there and match candy while I was on the plane and just have a good time.
Yeah.
And I played Final Fantasy Brave Exvius for years. I don't remember. I stopped before it went end of life, and I enjoyed that. That was the game that made me realize that I can't play those gacha games because I spend too much money on them, and it's better if I don't. But the game was really good, and I would love to play it again if I could do it without the real money aspect of it. There are people who played free to play, and I can't do that because if there's a way to win, I want to do that. I wasn't a whale. I think the term was a dolphin. I
Mm-hmm.
spent more than I should have, but I didn't spend all I could. I didn't collect absolutely everything. I was intentional with what I did.
Yeah.
See, I look forward to the games that come out in Apple Arcade. I've played some of them, and I've enjoyed lots of them. Um, yeah, I like games. I'm always open to a new mobile game. Depending on the game, I may want to pay for it. By and large, to me, mobile games are more ethereal. They come and they go, and there's very little that I play constantly. Candy Crush was the longest one, that and Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, and now Magic the Gathering, I guess. But otherwise, that's why I like Apple Arcade, because I can play a game for a couple months and then get a different game and play that.
Sure. I mean, whatever works for you. I'm good. I'll pass.
If you have an iPhone, and
I
you don't,
don't.
but people who are into the infrastructure, Apple Family, especially if you have multiple people in your family, it's a good deal. Apple Music has the best library of music there is, and you get access to Apple TV, which has some absolutely fantastic shows. I'm a big fan of. I'm going to get For All Mankind, which is an alt universe of what happens if the Soviets landed on the moon before we did,
Mm.
and obviously Ted Lasso is fantastic. Everything that Apple TV puts out is a fantastic show. They don't do that many, but the ones that come out are top of the line. So if you have a family, that's a recommended for me. And you also get Apple Arcade, which everybody in the family can get.
I'll stick with my YouTube Premium family. Get my YouTube music and my no commercials on YouTube videos. That's all I need.
No Ted Lasso.
No Ted Lasso.
And you claim to be a soccer fan.
Well, after how the Spurs performed yesterday, oh boy. Well, I guess that'll close up the show because there's really nothing else to say on that topic. So
I'll come
let's
up with
close
a
it
better
up.
wild
And
card next week, but we got plenty of conversation in the other areas, so
we
I
sure
think we're
did.
fine.
All right.
Yeah, so
Well,
I guess upcoming games is next.
yeah, just a couple things here. These are just ports of games, but I just figured Dynasty Warrior Origins, which is supposed to be a pretty good Dynasty Warriors game, is coming to Switch 2 on January 22nd.
Is
And
Dynasty
then,
Warriors the big combat games?
yeah, they're
Like
Musos.
armies?
Yeah.
Okay.
Musos. Yeah, that's what they're called. Muso. Musou. Musos. And then the Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade comes to Xbox Series X and S and Switch 2, also January 22nd. Play this game. It is one of my top 10 games of all time. It is absolutely phenomenal. Byron, you love this game. I love this game. Everyone should play this game.
Yeah, pretty good. Nothing else
Yeah.
to say. I mean, everybody knows what it is.
Yeah, but that'll do it for the show here. Thank you everyone so much for watching. Please remember to like, subscribe, give us some comments, feedback, anything. Always looking to hear what people have to say. Always happy to listen to the audience and to chat if you have any comments you want to give us. Byron, you got something to say?
Yeah, since we're going to do social media anyway, and the only social media I claim anymore is Blue Sky, they did release the ability to post when you're playing live on Blue Sky. So I will try to do that whenever I do near this week.
Cool.
It said Twitch, but I can't imagine it would only be Twitch and not YouTube as well.
We'll find out.
We'll find out. Stay tuned.
All right, where can people find you then?
On Blue Sky. Radio Free Europe, Blue Sky. Go ahead.
All right, you can find myself on Twitter /X at Joseph_Law_Russa. You can find my writing at Season Gaming. I actually did finally write something for Season Gaming.
A review this week for Where One's Beat that I did
impressions, not a review.
How dare I?
Review have a score. No, seriously, like the website, we're very strict. If we're reviewing something, we have to give it a score. So I didn't want to give a score to it. It is impressions.
I read it. It was well done.
Was it? Thank you. I appreciate that. I had a lot to say. I was trying to keep it relatively short, trying to keep it, correct and accurate, and just do the best that I could on it. So yeah, I appreciate that. And that's it. Season Gaming's Don Lionheart, Twitter, Twitter /X, Joseph_Law_Russa. And we'll be back next week here. So I'm excited for next week because we'll have the developer direct to talk about. That happens on Thursday, so we'll have that in the news cycle.
And the news story that Byron pulled at the last minute. You can talk about that.
Yes, and the news story that Byron pulled because he didn't want to talk about because he knew I'd want to talk about it next week too. So whatever. All right. Well, thank you again, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Byron, thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. I look forward to our next conversation. And remember, everyone, whether it's your gen, my gen, or someone else's, friends can be cross-generation.
Goodbye, everybody.
Take care, all.